Hello and welcome to another BTFO. Today we're going to be talking about The Bride. Um, just a little disclaimer, I'm feeling a little under the weather, so my voice sounds a little different. That's why. But yeah, The Bride. Oh boy. I don't know. This was a film that I was kind of looking forward to. I'm always kind of curious to see, new takes on like classic Universal horror monsters and stuff. And, I was kind of curious on it looked like they were setting up like, a gangster film with like Frankenstein's monster and his bride. And it's like, oh, okay, like that seems like that could be a lot of fun. That's not what The Bride is. I would not recommend The Bride. I thought it was interesting because only like a couple weeks ago I was on a trip and happened to catch the original The Bride of Frankenstein on TMC, and it opens with Mary Shelley recalling the events of the first Frankenstein movie, which to me I found rather charming because, it is kind of like it's a weird like out of universe in universe type thing where basically it's just meant to be a previously on, which, thinking about the time that it was released, it's like, well, yeah, unless you caught a back-to-back showing, it's not like there was really a way that you could just watch Frankenstein again. At that point in time, you had to go see a movie in the theaters if you wanted to see it. So, I find it kind of interesting that, like, oh yeah, like, I guess if you're making a sequel back then, you probably would want to reintroduce, like, the events of the previous film for your audience who may not have seen that film since it released, right? And, like, that's kind of neat. I liked that. This film also opens with Mary Shelley. However, she's not just there for the intro. She is ever present throughout the film, and kind of an annoying and like really baffling way where I'm not sure if they're trying to say, like, throughout the film, if it is the actual ghost of Mary Shelley that is possessing the bride, or if it is Mary Shelley trying to come up with a sequel for Frankenstein, which it's like, no, she would have been long dead before the 30s. Like, what? Like, no, obviously she didn't write that. So I don't know. Like, I guess it's supposed to be her ghost. But it feels really weird. And to me, it feels a lot like Abraham's Boys, where if you've seen my BTFO on that, you'd know that one of my main issues with that is that it relies on you having read the book, but then proceeds to like change a lot of things from the book. And it's like, no, you can't do both. Like, either you have to tell me your version of that story, or you have to be faithful to that version of the story. And so, like, this one, they have Frankenstein's monster, who goes by Frank in this, and Frank shows up to the lady that wrote Event Horizon, so it wasn't bad enough that they had to insult one dead author. Nope, they have to insult another dead author by inserting her into this. And he's like, hey, I'm Frankenstein. I was created over in Germany, but Frankenstein is actually Swiss, and I was made in the year 1819. And she's like, oh, you'd be like 120 years old or whatever. And he's like, yeah, that part I can't explain. Which I can't really explain it either, because I don't know, with the way that this film goes, it's like, oh, yeah, why is he that old? And why has he waited until now to do this? And it's also really weird because the author of Event Horizon, scientist lady, she recognizes him as in like she thinks he's playing the fictional character of Frankenstein's monster. And it's like, well, hold on, is Frankenstein a fictional story in your universe? Or was that, did Mary Shelley write a biography of Victor Frankenstein? Or, what the hell, what is this universe? What is the context supposed to be? Because she clearly knows him from writing. She thinks that he's a fictional character, but then very quickly is like, oh man, I read all about Victor Frankenstein's work, and that's what inspired me to do Reanimation. And it's like, okay, again, one of those things where you're relying on people knowing the book and knowing the story of Frankenstein. Pretty sure it's almost exclusively a cautionary tale, to the point where Victor doesn't tell how he brings things back to life because he doesn't want people to do that. So it's why would you insist on, nah, it's fine, actually, you can just read up on his work in this universe and you can just do it. It's barely an inconvenience. You just have to create a small power surge, and that works. It's oh, that's really lame. And they even start to go through with, because it's sorry, but if Frankenstein is a book, then the scientist lady has read, then she should know all of the reasons why Victor denied making him a bride in the book, but she just doesn't. And then when they get to it, or when he asks again, she kind of starts to list some of the reasons, where she's like, oh, would you love her or whatever. And for as much as this story is largely just a feminist wet dream, it feels really weird that they don't recognize the point from the book that Victor makes of, well, what if she doesn't love you? She's gonna view you as a hideous creature just like anyone else. Even if I make her hideous, she might hate you too, and then I'd have two resentful demons on my hands. So, yeah, it's bizarre, but then, I don't know, they bring her back to life, and, they do a weird, because, yeah, she is possessed by the ghost of Mary Shelley, so she occasionally just breaks into a British accent and just starts, listing off vocabulary words. It's oh man, that's really annoying. And I don't know, it's oh, the idea that this is somehow respectful to Mary Shelley's work by being oh yeah, well, all she did as an author was just look for really similar words and like rattle them off until she found the right ones. It's like, oh, okay. But then like Frank and the bride, they go to this like 1930s red light district gay bar that's like filled with drag queens. It's like, okay, I don't know, man. Like, I get that, like, yeah, it's Chicago, but it's like the 30s, really? And it also gets kind of annoying because sometimes they're like, hey, yeah, let's play like the old classic music from that era. But then sometimes they're just like, yeah, dubstep. Like, let's play like modern electro pop. And it's like, what the fuck is this? Why is this here? Like, you know, like, that's in universe. That's the music that's supposed to be going on. And it's like, no one's playing that. Like, that won't be around for another 80 years. Like, what are we doing? But like, then like as she's dancing, because it's one of those things where I don't know, there are a lot of moments throughout this movie where you sit there and you go, really? Like, nobody was like, hey, what are we doing here? Like, I feel like this is really silly. This shouldn't be very silly, should it? But like, because they have like the bride is dancing on the dance floor, and then like 5 guys just all like walk up and start like rubbing up against her, and they're all just like, yeah, like, it's raping time, like, right here, right now. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm sorry, but like, yeah, no, like, why, you know? And then she's like, okay, like, nope, I'm gonna leave. So then her and Frankenstein leave. Then like, she like, or they're walking out, and then 2 of the rapists come up and they're like, come on, we just want to rape you a little, like, like, so then they start picking a fight. It causes Frankenstein to like beat the shit out of both of them and kill both of them. And then there's like a random photographer at the end of the alleyway that like just takes their picture, and then they flee. And it's really weird where like most of the movie you're following Jake Gyllenhaal. He plays an actor who had polio as a child but like got over it, and now he has shoes that are like different heights because his legs are different lengths. And it's like, I don't know, there's a neat idea in there of like, oh, Frankenstein's creature really respects someone that's like overcome their deformity. It's like that. There's a neat idea in there, but it just manifests itself in, yeah, well, he's been in a bunch of movies that like are set at these different locations, so I want to go to those locations and watch the movies that he's in. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know how he would know that at that point, but alright. And like, they go to New York, and they end up, while they're like trying to run from the cops, they somehow enter this like high class, high society ball. It's really weird because like the bride, I can kind of buy. Like, I don't know, she grabs a drink tray and just starts like walking around, but it's like, at least she is in like a nice dress. It doesn't match any of the other like waiters or waitresses, but then like Frank he sees a waiter and they're like in a white tuxedo basically, and he's like, oh, I know, the inside of my coat is like beige, like a faded white. So I'll just turn my coat inside out, and I'll put my bandana up across my nose, and I'll totally blend in as a waiter. And it's like, dude, what? Like, what's going on? And he meets Jake Gyllenhaal's character and has like a weird, awkward, like, celebrity moment with him. And then he's like about to cry because Jake Gyllenhaal is like, okay, like, that's nice, dude. Like, I'm glad you're a fan, but like, can I get back to doing my shit now? Like, you know, like, I don't really, this wasn't really the time or place. And then they break into song and dance, like, the whole club. And it's so bizarre that, like, I was legitimately waiting for, like, okay, it's a dream sequence, right? Like, we're gonna cut to, like, Frank crying like a little bitch over in the corner, right? Like, imagining that this is all happening, but it's like, no, like, we're supposed to take away that that is literally what happened. That everyone just broke into song and dance. And it's like, oh, okay. And then the bride, like, the cops all come in, and the bride takes Jake Gyllenhaal hostage, and then randomly the ghost of Mary Shelley is like, hey, guess what? There are a lot of women in this world that are abused. Hey, you over there, you fatso, yeah, you abused your wife, didn't you? Hey, other cop, like, you fucking hate women, don't you? That's like, oh, like, that's really cringe. I don't, and like, she's swinging a gun around and stuff, and then, like, the cop, or like, one of the cops, like, attempts to go up and, like, disarm her, and she shoots the cop, and then for some reason none of the other cops shoot, which becomes very funny by the end of the movie. But so then her and Frank, like, they run off. They decide that they're gonna leave, and Frank is like now even more in love with her because he's like, oh my god, you killed someone just like me. Now we're both monsters. And it's like, okay, all right. And then, like, we have Mr. Detective Man, who I guess he fucked the Ida, the lady that became the Bride of Frankenstein, and I guess somehow she starts a quote-unquote feminist movement of women that, like, mark their faces with ink like hers and then go and just, like, beat up men. Like, I don't know, it's really weird because every time, like, they only show it a couple of times, but, like, every time they're like, hey, yeah, let's check in on this, like, revolution that's been started, it's all, like, really violent, and it's like, did you, like, I don't think that's what you want to say, right? Like, I don't think you want to be like, yeah, this positive social change, it comes, like, at the end of a gun. Like, it's, you know, it's hyper violent, but it's also, like, very good. We should be for this. It's like, what the fuck are you trying to say? Like, and, like, they have a scene that I found really annoying where Detective Man is with his partner, Detective Lady, and Detective Lady is like, okay, well, obviously we have to catch the bride. Like, obviously this needs to stop. And he is like, no, look at how many people are inspired by her story. You know, maybe, like, you know, if people can be this inspired by a female killer, then maybe they'll be inspired by, like, female teachers or female astronauts. And it's like, dude, this is the 1930s. Like, you don't even have regular astronauts. Like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, no. Like, yeah, I guess everyone would be inspired by a female astronaut in the 1930s, considering you don't even have rocket ships at this point. Like, rockets don't exist in this world. like, much less fucking astronauts. Like, you know, maybe the term's around, like, maybe it got used in fucking, like, Jules Verne and that shit, but it's like, dude, a regular person on the street in the 1930s, if you asked them what a fucking astronaut is, like, you know, they probably would be like, oh, that's like the people that study the stars, right? Astronomers. Like, you know, it's like, I don't, like, they wouldn't have a concept of what the fucking astronaut is. Like, why would you put that in there, man? Like, you're writing this as a period piece. Like, how the hell did you just, like, oh yeah, fuck it, female astronauts, like, that's what people talk about all the time, right? It's like, what the fuck? But then basically, yeah, he comes clean to Detective Lady, and he's like, yeah, she was an informant on a case, and then the case got shut down, and she was like, oh, please, Mr. Detective Man, like, don't shut down the case. You know, this is a really bad man that I'm following. And he was like, well, you know, I don't know, the case is gonna remain closed unless someone sucks my cock. And so he slept with her. He's like, yeah, but like, it wasn't even in my power to open the case. And it's like, it's one of those things of, yeah, you tried to portray him as, like, abusing his power, which, sure, I guess technically he did, but it also means that, like, Ida was retarded. Like, how, in what world was she like, oh man, there's this mob boss dude that, like, pays everyone off, and he's really bad, and I'm trying to get dirt on him for this investigation. Oh, the investigation closed, which probably means that the mob bosses paid them off. I know, if I just sleep with the detective, you know, my pussy is gonna be so good that he'll forget all about the money from the mob boss and reopen the case. It's like, oh, yeah, I mean, I get, like, it's less of a power dynamics issue and more of a, like, is she legally able to consent? Like, you know, does she have the mental capacity for that? Like, but yeah, so he's like, you know what? That wasn't cool of me. So, Lady Detective, I already called into the station back in Chicago, and I told them that I quit on the one condition that I get to name my successor. Which it's like, no, you're quitting. You're not in a place to make demands at that point. Like, you know, it's like, no, like, what does the department get by letting you name your heir? Like, you know, and that's not, like, at least I'm pretty sure that's not how, like, detective work works. Like, I don't think that if he was just like, oh yeah, Ronald McDonald, he can be the next detective. Like, I don't think they'd accept that. I think they'd be like, yeah, no, fuck you. But he hands his badge to Detective Lady, which it's like, oh, okay, I guess there's no name on the badge. Alright. He's like, you're the detective now, Chief. So she's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna follow them to more of these movie locations. And she kind of follows them around for a bit, and they do a bunch of stuff. And, like, they meet, Officer Rex Calabrese on the middle of some fucking, like, farm road in Iowa. He's like, oh man, you know, it would be really fun at this routine traffic stop if we did a little bit of raping. It's like, what the fuck? Like, and it's also one of those things where it feels like one of those weird, like, oh, you wanted to have rape, but you didn't want to portray it as too gruesome, you know? We wouldn't want to make people feel uncomfortable during a rape scene. And so it's like, yeah, he, like, You know, he never really attempts to remove her dress. He never attempts to, like, open any of his clothes or anything. He's just like, nah, I'm gonna dry hump you. Like, that's what I do. That's how I like to get off. Then Frankenstein shoots him. And then the other cop, who was just, like, in the car, because that's another thing that this movie does that I find really annoying, where it's like, oh yeah, the idea that, like, yeah, people are just fine with rape, actually. It's like, they just let it happen, you know? Like, the idea that it's like, come on, man, like, sure, yeah, like, cops can be friendly, and obviously there can be corruption. But, like, the idea that, oh yeah, I'm on patrol with, you know, Officer Rex Calabrese, and we're, like, pulling this lady over because she was speeding, and then I see him just fucking start to rape her. It's like, nah, that's fine. Like, I'm just gonna sit here in my car. Like, nothing to see here. It's like, what? Like, okay. But when he gets shot, that's when the other cop comes out of the car and is like, whoa, what's going on? And then Frankenstein kills him, and they leave. And then they go to the drive-in movie. Detective lady follows them there. And then they, like, forget why, the bride randomly throws up because she's heard enough of the corny dialogue, and Frankenstein, like, gets out to hold her hair back, and they shoot Frankenstein through the head, killing him. And then the bride somehow, in the midst of, like, this shootout, she grabs Frankenstein's body and, like, puts it in the back of the car, and then drives her car all the way from Iowa to Chicago, because she avoided the police in one maneuver on the road. So then she goes all the way back to Scientist Lady, and she's like, hey, Scientist Lady, I want you to revive Frankenstein. And the Scientist Lady is like, no, he doesn't have a brain. Like, all I can really do is... And I thought it was super weird, because she kept referring to it as, like, I'm gonna document the radiation damage. And it's like, what do you mean by that? Like, is he leaking radiation? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why do you keep saying that? But then, like, she tries to convince the bride that, like, no, you don't actually want to, like, to save him, or, like, bring him back, because I did that with my husband once, and he couldn't remember who he was, so I had to put him down. And it's like, wow, man, isn't this stuff that you should have told Frankenstein at, like, the beginning of the movie? Oh, but, like, that wasn't there at the beginning of the movie, because they hadn't thought to write that, and they didn't think to go back and check over their script either. So then the cops come in, and it's really funny. They see the bride, and they all just unload their guns, like, all 20 of them, just full mag dumping, like, just absolutely obliterating her. And, like, Detective Lady has to be like, stop firing, everyone, stop. Like, finally everyone stops firing, and then, like, the chief cop guy is like, oh, who the fuck is this? And she's like, oh, like, you're gonna listen, like, I'm the lady telling you to stop firing, like, this woman is clearly dead, you know, there's no need to keep firing. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess that's true, but, like, yeah, they should all recognize that. And then the cop was like, yeah, okay, but still, who the fuck are you to tell everyone to stop firing? And she's like, oh, I'm the new detective. And he's like, yeah, I don't really believe that. because you're like a random woman dressed in civilian clothes. Why the fuck would I believe that you're the new detective? And then she like pulls out the badge and is like, oh, see, I am the new detective, and you're just a misogynist. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, what are we doing here? Like, yeah, obviously he wouldn't just think that, oh yeah, random civilian fucking 6'7" is like, oh, that's our new detective. Like, why would he think that? Um, and so then like the lady clears everyone out, and she tells scientist lady like, oh man, like, that really sucks that this all happened. And then they leave, and then there's like a big jolt of electricity, which they want us to believe revived both Frankenstein and the bride. And it's like, no, like, neither of them had like the equipment actually hooked up to them, but also Frankenstein doesn't have a brain, and the bride just got riddled with bullets. Like, unless you're like doing surgery on them, why the fuck would they come back? Like, you know, it's like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure like the rules of this film are that like they need a functioning body to be able to live. But yeah, and then like they have a little scene of a bunch of the women from the revolutionary group going, and they find like the main gangster in Chicago, and they're giving him a tattoo of like the ink blot on the side of his face. And it's like, oh, I mean, you should probably just like kill that guy. Like, as embarrassing as that is for him to have that tattoo, like, he's a really bad dude though. Like, you should probably just kill him. Or at least like turn him over to justice, right? But yeah. And then the Monster Mash plays, which in concept I'm not opposed to. Like, you know, like, I actually think that like at the end of a film like Van Helsing, right? That like playing the Monster Mash is totally fine. The idea of like, if you have a fun new take on, you know, these classic gothic like horror monsters and stuff like that, I'm not opposed to the idea of using Monster Mash. Like, I actually think that could be a lot of fun. The problem is that this film isn't fun. Like, it's not going for a fun tone anywhere really throughout the film. So it's like, why the fuck would you choose that? Like, why would you, you know, be like, oh yeah, haha, lol, like, you know, hope you really enjoyed our really dramatic story that makes like super deep points about women in society. But also like, lol, it's all jokes. It's like, what the fuck? Like, why did you do that? Why would you make that choice? Which I suppose could sum up the whole film as just, why would you make this? Like, what on earth could have actually inspired you to make this? And yeah, it's really bad. Don't go see it, please don't. Yeah. All right, that's it for this BTFO. Thank you for watching, and bye.